try something different today and do a little narrating because it's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to post, because this has just been a nightmare of trying to get stuff done. So let's give a quick recap. Let's start with over here. The kitchen is, I'm getting a real feel for the kitchen now that we've cleaned up and the demo's all done. New windows going here. Same size window there is going here. The farmhouse sink, dishwasher, lower cabinets. Cooktop is going here, so I'm going to wall this in to put a vent here, exhaust fan here. So that's my nice L-shaped kitchen. Open wooden shelving above both sides of the window. Get a good feel for that. And then if I come over here and turn around, dining room, pantry with a wall oven and a microwave. And then I have room for two 24-inch cabinets of 48 inches of counter space with lowers and uppers. This side I was planning on being white. The other side was planning on being probably sage green, because I think I'm going to go with like a natural stone finish tile floor, maybe like a terracotta kind of color, and that orange from the terracotta will go nice with wood. If I have natural open wooden shelving here, wood colors, as well as with the green and the orange, I think will well, no, actually orange is better with blue. I'll have to go with more of a reddish stone, so it's more like a red and green. Yeah, we'll see. I'm starting to get some ideas for colors. Now let's talk about this disaster. Okay, I think I showed you in the very first video that this wall was rotten. I knew this wall was rotten. I knew this wall had to get rebuilt. It's been rebuilt. It's all 2x6 structure, so it's really solid now. But I had the scope in my head from a little bit of rot would be wonderful, and a whole lot of rot would be manageable, but like I had a limit. I had like a scope of from little to a lot, kind of draw a line, and I pictured from here to here. Well, it hit this wall of a lot. None of these floor joists were supporting anything. Well, I guess they were supporting things because it hadn't fallen down yet, but they were all rotted and spongy. This middle wall was completely rotted. It almost popped out. It was holding nothing. This wall going across here, which is actually supporting the outside wall of the second floor, was completely gone. And all of the ceiling members up here, which were just there, they were just 2x3s for drywall. Excuse my shaky camera work as I hobble across the floor here. They were just 2x3s for drywall ceiling, so they weren't structural or anything, but they were all rotten and just came out in one piece. Once I took part of this wall down, the whole ceiling just popped right out of the wall there. So that top plate there is probably rotten. I have to wait until I get up there and hammer it to see if I need to replace it or not, or if I can at least screw into it for drywall. But I think I'll have to scab out at least from there to there. That 32 or 36, or they look like they should be 16s, so 32 inches. Nothing was left up here. This is what was holding up the roof. Nothing. So this roof, let's try to get this camera the right angle here. This roof was going like this way, and like this way. It's a real bowl up here. And you know someone saw it was rotten because they put cedar fence boards in here and new sheathing from here down. And they scabbed in some pieces of 2x4 on extremely rotten wood. So somebody was in here when it was rotten and thought they did something, but they really did nothing. Everything past this middle wall up here is very dry no staining, no rot, no nothing. It's all really solid up here, which is amazing for a 150-year-old house. Well, this is probably a bit newer, but that part is 150 years old. This is probably, I'm guessing, about 1910. I'll show you why in a second. So I've got all this jacked up now. I've got a few of the new rafters in here. I got 2 more to go there, and this one is just here to help lift the roof up to get this one in. This one's actually going over here, so then we'll have a nice flat roof, and maybe even bowed up a little bit, because I made sure all of these were crowned up to help push the roof load up. So when I get a snow load up there, it's gonna have lots of support. I'm not gonna have any fear of load up there. And then I'm debating right now, I think what I'm gonna do is drywall up there, spray foam. I'm going to be spray foaming the whole ceiling anyway, so making it a hot ceiling. So spray foam all up here and just drywall and have these crazy high ceilings in the utility room here. Same with spraying this outside wall. So all this work has led to crazy restructuring. And today I'm going to try to get this floor done, this section of floor done, so I can start building these walls, because in 2 days I have the electrician coming to put in the new panel. So I've got that started by disconnecting all the wiring in the whole house. Took out all the old breakers, at least that had breakers, and I've just installed 2 circuits for my tools and accessories, a 20 amp and a 15 amp I've left plugged in for my tools. So now as I demo the rest of the house, I know every single wire I come across is not live. Only my extension cords are live. So something hanging out the wall like this, no fear. So that's what's been going on. But like, I wanted to show you just a close-up of what this floor, if you can picture what this floor was being supported by. This is actually a more solid joist than the rest of the ones I took out, because even though I hammer at that middle part and chisel away at it, there's still a little bit of structure left. These other ones were, if I stood on one individual joist, it would have just snapped in half. And look at the sag. And in case you're thinking maybe my construction skills, because I'm just a DIYer, not a professional, are off base, I have my nice long level spanning across 3 of my new joists, and it's not perfectly centered, but this is a 150-year-old house, so nothing's going to be perfectly level, but I am really happy with that. And of course that tells me that is all sag due to rot. What's scary is that's the joist that column of 2x4s is on, and that stack of 2x4s is on, holding up this beam. These ones that were in the middle were so loose I could just kick them out with my foot. They were so rotted at the base and loose because of that sag here that none of these 2x4s were supporting anything. So I was worried at first I had done something wrong with my calculations, because I noticed that sag and I said, oh my god, what's going to happen here? Am I going to have a hump in my floor, because I'm going to go from where I thought I leveled it here to the rest of the kitchen, and there's going to be a hump going down to the rest of the joists. But I checked it with that level. My new floor is actually almost bang on with the level below those 2 layers of flooring. Actually, technically it's 4 layers of flooring. Laminate, 1/4 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. But it's level with that joist. So my floor is going to be level, and it's going to be lower, because I've got 2 1/4 inches over there, and I'm only replacing it with 3/4 of an inch. Depending on the height, once I get my tiles, maybe there'll be a tile backer board as well to remove some of the flex. But I am putting blocking down here, so there shouldn't be any bounce in the new floor. So it's shaping up. Move the window over a little bit, because my furnace guy, hats off to him for being creative. I had a whole bunch of people in here quoting me on furnace. There's my furnace, by the way. quoting me on designs and stuff and crazy prices, because the only place I could envision the furnace going was upstairs, and then having a downflow furnace, because down here I had all this layout already planned. I had new electrical panel which will take up most of this wall. I had washer dryer, like a folding table over here, and the door was here. And then in the bathroom, the door is here, close to the middle wall, and then you had sink and toilet. And he comes along, well, why don't you put the furnace there? I'm like, well, that's where the electrical panel's going. He said, why don't you put the electrical panel here? I said, that's where washer dryer is going. Well, why don't you put the electrical panel on this inside wall here? I'm like, but that's where the hot water tank's going, the on-demand hot water tank. He goes, why don't you put the hot water tank in your bathroom? Oh my God, that works. So now, as you can see, hot water tank, pressure tank, and the whole house filtration system is going on that wall, which frees up this space for the furnace. Washer and dryer, instead of the washer dryer facing this way with a folding table facing this way, the washer dryer is going to be straight out this way. The door is going to be relocated to here instead of there, which means he's got this whole wall with a little bit of a jog around the beam, but he's got this whole wall for the main trunk, and there's enough room for it. We did some measuring over here. There's enough room for it, the whole trunk to go over here. And because of the direction of these joists, very easy to get heat over this window, heat over that window, heat over this window, heat upstairs under that bedroom window, which is about there. That old exterior wall punched through for the living room and the upstairs bathroom and new closet. Used to be a bedroom. And then this trunk, to come over here, can go through to the dining room on this side to give me heat over these two windows in here, and a run to go up to the master right about there on that far wall where its window is. So we had a quick look at it. It's like, oh my God, this is ridiculous heat. Actually, I drew a little picture of my idea here. Furnace, main trunk, some runs going this way for the kitchen, a run going this way for the bathroom, run going this way for that bathroom, runs following along the wall for the two windows in the living room and upstairs, and then runs on this outside wall upstairs to the master bedroom, and drops for the two windows. He also said to save my little vents, because once we drywall this, we can stick a grate here and you still have airflow through the floors. So I've got a grate in the hallway here, one in the master, one in the back bedroom, and one, I can't see it from here, it's hidden over there somewhere. I think it's underneath the wall, underneath that triple there, going into the closet. So if I keep those and keep the iron grates, I'll have airflow going upstairs and circulating through the floors as well. So it'll really help circulate the air. And because I'm conditioning down here, don't forget my plan was to drop a heat down to the crawl space. Maybe we'll go heat down in this corner or something. Go down here and go across that wall, because I've insulated that outside wall, and I'm starting to insulate the tops of the walls here, as well as get the mill plastic on there. It's filthy right now because I just took all this rot out. I got to clean that up. But maybe put a heat drop here, and then there's a major wall here. So this is like this under the dining room is like another crawl space section separate from the rest. Then have a cold air return here, and at the same time could use this wall for a cold air return from the dining room side of the house and the master bedroom. And we could use a couple of cavities in this wall to get a cold air return from upstairs. The upstairs, actually it'll have to be right about here. The upstairs bedroom and maybe the upstairs hallway or something to come down here. So we've got all that planned. The airflow in the crawl space will really help keep it dry. And I think my plumbing plan is done. I don't think I'll have any water lines actually running in the crawl space anymore. They had all of their pipelines running down there and they had problems with them bursting and freezing. I'm doing the encapsulation and the heat down there, the air circulation down there to prevent freezing. But at the same time, I think the only water that will be down there will be the main 1 1/4 inch line from the pump, and the pump, which I'm going to be putting either right under the floor here, or since I have an access here, right under the floor here. Actually, it probably makes sense here because the water pressure tank and filtration system is going to be here. So jet pump here with the 1 1/4 inch line going out through the wall over there to the well. So I think that's going to be the only water that's going to be underneath there. There will be drains under there, like the sink, kitchen sink from here will have to drain out the bottom. But the water lines can come up here, so they stay inside the warm space. Same with this wall will be full of water lines because we've got the toilet, the sink, the washer and dryer, and then upstairs over there is the main bath. So this will be water central here. As far as drains go, the main bath drain presently comes down in the middle of the living room. I'm going to bring it down and across and into this utility room so that all of the drains, but because the septic is going probably out this wall right about here, I'll bring them down under the spray foam with a bulkhead there and bring them down here so that all the drains, the toilet, the sink, the washing machine, can all collect into its main effluent discharge in the floor here. So again, if there's any major plumbing that needs to be done, I've got access panel right there. So I think that's going to work really well for the plumbing. Keep it all really well contained. Keep all the water lines really well contained. And then, like I said, there's going to be a wall here, and then the back of my hand would be where the new electrical panel is going, which is right there. A little hard to see now that the sun's come out. But we got our new bathroom window and new electrical panel right there to finish off this corner. And then take a look at what else I have to demolish. I think it's just the bathroom upstairs. Still has a sink, a toilet, and a bathtub in it. That's got to go. Upstairs, ceilings upstairs. Still have to demolish the ceilings upstairs to get spray foam. And then we're into building everything. I've already ordered a skid or half a skid of furring strips to start bringing out the thickness of these walls, to make sure I've got the right thickness for proper insulation on exterior walls, since most of this house is still 2x4. Now it's real 4 inches. So a 2x2 on top of a real 4 inches gives me my 5.5 that I need. And then same thing for the roof joists upstairs. If anything is too small upstairs for spray foam, then I can make it thicker, at least 5.5 inches for spray foam to make the hot roof. Oh, and I was going to say how I knew that this was a newer edition, but it's still like about 1910. If you look at the lumber that was used here for the outside wall, and in here we got 3x4s, rough cut here. Some of the lumber in here is still got bark on it. It was hand done. There's some, you can see some obvious axe marks on some of the wood there that was hand carved to make that support. And this whole ceiling is pretty much all 3x4s, which is crazy. And then a few 4x4s, like real 4x4s there. But in here, it's still rough sawn, but the size of the planking used for the subfloor up there is smaller. Of course, knob and tube. And the rough cut lumber here really resembles the kind of lumber that would have been available, that was available around 1900 to 1920. So I'm guessing split the difference, and we'll call this 1910-ish up here. And that's the original 1873. And I know on one of the channels, someone was telling me, oh, those aren't old square cut nails. You can get square cut nails today. Yeah, you can. And they have their purpose. But this wall was built in 1873. I've got the records to prove it. And just taking a look at the condition of it and the nails and the building, the structure, it's consistent with 1873. Now, when they built this addition, it's interesting that they put wallpaper on the exterior house boards to make this look more like the inside of the house. I thought that was very interesting. They didn't go with lath and plaster. They didn't go up with any kind of board material and then put the wallpaper on that. They just put wallpaper right on the exterior of the house. Try to get this video edited and out soon, and then I'll try to get a little better at filming what I'm doing after I get this mess done. Because once I get this mess fixed up and this demolished and the ceiling upstairs demolished, I'm into building, and I like building much more than explorational surgery to find what's wrong and then navigate solutions for what's wrong, because that's taking a lot of time. But things are moving along. Septic system is due to go in soon. Furnace is here. The ductwork's set to go in soon, so I got to get these walls done. Electrical panels going in a couple of days. Got to get these walls done. So got to get these walls done. Hope you have a good week, and hopefully I'll get back to posting something every week again. Ciao. Busy couple of days from the last video. New electrical panel, new 200 amp services installed. You can see we've got all the framing in here done now. Blocking is in. Just need to tidy up some of the roof stuff. Roofer was here, checked everything out. The roof is in great shape, so that's a relief. And just need to get some sheathing on that wall, get that window installed, and get back to work now that I have power.